It's always fun to see which one's gonna pop up. Yeah!
Did you pop up first?
Mine popped up first.
Yeah. Okay.
Hello.
Good afternoon.
Damn silence of everyone both on the freaking screen for a change.
I think you did something special.
I don't know what I did, but the camera. You guys, we're always cut off on
YouTube.
YouTube.
Take a picture of this.
It really is. The setup is like so on point. Yes. What's up? We see Angel Erica. We see Terry, and nobody on IG just yet. Did y'all see the title of the video? Your mama and why you cannot function in your marriage or your business.
Yeah, mine was when the wounds cut deep. Your marriage and your business paid the price. So, yes. Hola, Cami.
That's a deep one. So, ladies, yay, we're here. We always come in with the intro to let you know who we are, what we do. I am August Crenshaw, and she is
Imani Aisha.
And this is Couch Conversations. I'm the one who's here to help you get your head game right about your business. I'm a business coach and
I'm a marriage coach helping you move through and thrive in your marriage while you're building your business.
And bam, so there it is. So between the two of us, we decided to fill a void in the industry that we noticed was not served, forget underserved. Yeah. But I like everything's connected, right? What goes on in our personal life, our professional life, what's going on with us spiritually, all of this stuff, it all goes together, and we gel really good. It just literally it means that we gel really good. And you brought up today's topic, and it's heavy. So I'm gonna flow with it though, because it's a juicy topic. When she brought it, I was like,
it's like, okay, we can do that.
I was like, forget my idea. We'll save it for another day. I'm like, she thought this shit all the way out. This is a good one. So take home.
That's what happens when you be listening to stuff and talking to people.
Girl, you be reflecting and working with clients. You be in your business and you just get hit with stuff.
For real. You be in your life and your business. But one of the things that it came to me in kind of a word. It was just like wounds. You know what I mean? When it first kind of came to me, and I was like, well, what the heck is that supposed to be? What is that about? And I thought about the fact that we work with people, we talk to people who are really hurting, who are in need of some kind of healing. And the reality is you bring that, you just said in the beginning of this, everything's connected. You bring all of that into your relationship with your business and your relationship with your spouse. Mm-hmm. It's an inevitable thing. We can't compartmentalize it. And so whatever, in relationship, they often, you hear what we call baggage, right? Whatever baggage, you're bringing into the space in your marriage, are things that you have to deal with, but they're often things that we shirk away from dealing with in our marriage. And today I really wanted to talk about some of those things and bring in even kind of a personal example of my own in dealing with something. I think, and that's where August came up with it, your mama and your business and your marriage, because, going through that journey with my mom, I didn't even realize how it was affecting my marriage and my spouse. I was like, where's this coming from, from him? And I thought I was just, expressing stuff, but I know that I wear everything on my sleeve. I'm that type of person. I can't just be like, people know, like, something's wrong with you. I can't just do that I'm fine thing. And so a lot of times the lack of openness and vulnerability we have in our marriage, or lack of understanding of where we're coming from, and or them understanding where we're coming from, it stems a lot from those wounds and those things that we're carrying with us into the relationships that we have. And in particular for August and I, the relationships, like I said, with your business and your marriage. And so am I just gonna dive into my story? So, I talked a little bit in various ways about my journey with my mom. And it is a journey. For some people, the mother-daughter relationship is just this kind of tight-knit, we BFFs, and others go through, as far as I know, they go through seasons where it can be tougher. Mm-hmm. And, I've had an ebb and flow in my relationship with my mom. And at one point, my husband and I and our daughter were living with my mom. And he got to see at that point kind of firsthand, because before we were just mostly on the phone and things like that, kind of firsthand some of the tensions that we have. And, as any husband, he goes into protective mode and it's like, I don't know what's going on, but I know that you're hurting. Like, why do you keep feeding into this? And then he goes into like fix it mode too. Like, I feel like you're feeding into this, etc. And I had to do my own reflection on this, and having you, really help me with this too. But I had to work through that on my own. And I remember there was one point. Now we had moved out and everything on our own. And he was like kind of ticked off. I was maybe venting. I got off the phone and it wasn't a great conversation. And I was confused. I was like, why are you mad? Like, it was beyond the I'm just upset for you. I'm protecting you. It was like, you guys are always going through this. And I always, I'm always hearing the things that you're feeling. And you're always, changes your whole mood. And and on another hand, he was like, and that's their mom. Like, I don't get why y'all talk to each other the way it is, because his relationship with his mom is different. But see, here's the thing. He's never going to have a mother-daughter relationship. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's always going to have the relationship that he has, and it's going to be him as a son to his mom. And for me, it was like, okay, this is a journey for my mom and I. We're very different in how we deal. And so I had to talk to him about that. And I thought I did. I thought I explained and talked to him about what was going on. But I said, the relationship and the dynamics with my mom are different. And I had to really open up with him in a different kind of way, because I didn't realize that I was draining him because I was feeling drained over here. I thought I was just releasing to him as my husband. And he was like, I don't like seeing like this. This is just too much. And we had to have a real conversation about, what that was, because it did not dawn on me. I talk a lot about awareness and consciousness, and there are things that we just aren't aware of until they're in our faces. Right. Sometimes we really just don't know until it's like they react and we're like, what just happened? Like, I don't know why you just reacted like this. And then we had to sit down and we had to have a conversation, because, he's my man. He's seeing everything that I go through. If his energy was up and then I wasn't feeling that great, he felt like the dynamic was getting shifted, and then we had to talk about that, because I wasn't trying to keep him from his joy, you know what I mean? But again, I wasn't the person to hide mine, and he knows that. And so we had to work through navigating that together. And in our marriage, it meant that I had to kind of explain something to him that he really couldn't understand tangibly. I had to at least share with him how I was feeling, and hope that was kind of opening up the lines for him a little bit. And I also had to set some boundaries for myself. Like, I don't always have to talk to him about it. I don't always have to, you know what I mean? And I think we have this whole thing of our spouses are our best friends and all that. I get it. But sometimes we need you need other outlets to be able to speak certain truths, and that I had to kind of go that route with him as well, because what was painful for him, me was painful for him, and I was bringing that into the space. It was like he married a woman who was bringing that in. It was like me and my mom would go at it sometimes, and we work, hard on our relationship. It is not a simple, easy thing like it is with you and your mom. So and I'll stop and just kind of, but I wanted to kind of give an overview of what that looked like for me.
Yeah, no, actually, I mean, I can definitely take a spin off, but I prefer to do a direct spin off. So I was listening and I waiting for keywords and triggers, and I could talk about how this relates to your business and how it stops you from showing up, or how it prevents you from being able to execute. But it would be easier because this is your situation. Yeah. And so I could talk about some of the things that we worked through, but it would be easier for me if you talk about some of those specific things. So then I can go and do the breakdown of where you had to have epiphanies about your business. Yeah. But I had to, push at your mindset. I mean, about your marriage, but I had to push at your mindset about things with your business. And so I don't want to tread into territory that I shouldn't be. So you'll open up the door by going beyond the overview now.
I didn't want to talk too much.
That's we ready to flow. So just get it. Just get it.
Well, one of the big things for me, and I know it's going to spill over into the business pretty easily, was this thing about feeling misunderstood. My mom and I don't have the best of communication, and which is not easy to say for me, just because I'm a communicator, you know what I mean? But I have to, I have to check my ego at the ego check door, because I'm like, okay, but I'm communicating with somebody who communicates differently. Here's kind of a somewhat recent example. Most of our conversations since I've had my daughter has been about me as a mom, has been about motherhood and things like that. And my mom will tend to speak in assumptions, to speak as if I didn't know something, or, I didn't already do something. And I had to have a conversation with her recently to say, I just want you to, I just want you to ask me, you know what I mean? Kind of as a question, because when you talk, it sounds like you're assuming. And that's a trigger for me, because I don't like to be misunderstood, and neither does she. And both of us, have that thing. And so we constantly are going back and forth trying to explain ourselves to each other. And then there's a sensitivity about it, so somebody's feelings get hurt. And then the conversation becomes about something else. And the deeper layer here for me that I had to share with you was that, the parts of me that remind my mother of my father are things that are things that are not necessarily looked at favorably, when I'm expressing it. When I do something that reminds her of, like, that's just like your father, that doesn't really bode well. And so for me, I feel like, do you really get me? Do you understand that this is me? It's not him, even if I'm of both of you, even if there are traits that I'm exhibiting. And so I'm constantly explaining myself. My mom does it even more. Like, I'll maybe get, even more, because she doesn't want to be misunderstood, but I felt misunderstood by her. And so I know that that's where it's coming from. And from my business, it was like, I don't want anybody to label me, in my business. I don't want to feel like, I said this and now, oh, she the one who be saying that, blase skip, she the one that be telling you that blase blah. And when, I have to be the boss in my business, oh, she just in it for the money. She don't really care about my marriage, even knowing that I do, because it's not true. But I also know I can't really control what it is that they're saying. So I'm trying to, you know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
So
I'm sitting here, you got me today, because this is one of those things where, because this is not just an example of something that I've done before with clients, but I'm sitting next to the person that I care about, and that we walk through it. And so my brain is rewinding, and I'm also, just thinking too about what to feed the people. There's so many different layers in what you said, and it comes down to not being misunderstood, but perfectionism. It comes to being closed in, and you become a kind of person that needs to prove something, and you all won't even think this. It's everybody's dynamic with their mother isn't the same. Maybe it's not your mom, maybe it's somebody else, but the point is, there are people that have the way that they talk to you, the things that they say, your aunt, your spouse, somebody, that it triggers something in you. And you will swear that I'm beasting my business, I'm building my business, I'm doing everything that I can to make sure that I do what I do. But when your energy comes from the wrong place, that's not what you're doing. And so one of the things that we can laugh about it now, one of the things that was really twisting up the coaching relationship with Imani and I, not in a bad way, because as a coach, I was like, I'm seeing what she's doing. So I used to be like, Imani, stop. What she didn't realize is because she was always misunderstood, because she felt like she wanted everything to be in order so that people got her. Imani would disappear and be like, where you at? She would be gone out the group, and then she would come back with 17 pages worth of, I done created this program, I got this script, I got this. And it's ironic, right? Because the thing we run from, you talk about the law of attraction, the thing we run from is the thing we run to. And I'm like, sweetie, we got to slow down. You can't be a relationship coach. You can, but do you want to niche down? And how are you making all of these products? How are you doing all of this stuff if you haven't done this? And you guys will be so focused, and you will get so much shit done, but you'll be getting things done out of order. And so in an effort to make sure that I understood her, she was somewhere thinking extra hard, doing a lot of stuff, trying to get everything in order and also protecting the relationship, because here's this other person that's her coach. You know, you want to make sure that we're getting each other. So you're not necessarily opening up to me because you want to have it all together, but you guys don't understand that's the reason why you have a coach. So you don't have it all together so that the coach can help you get there. And so when you guys look at it, so it was distorting her communication with her spouse. Oh, wow, I got it. You might get one of the cords for my, it's right there on the dresser as soon as you come in the door. My battery's low on my cell phone. But back to what I'm saying is that the bottom line is it distorts the communication in the relationship, but it also distorts your communication when you're talking to other people, because you're going to care how you are perceived in your relationship, and you are going to care how you are perceived in your business when you write your copy. You know, there's so many different things that, hold up, don't allow, bam. Not sure what that is. Oh, wow. Why is that blocked out? Okay, never mind. Something's popping up on my laptop. Yeah, give me a push the close it. The little what's magic thing. Yeah. It should be good now. Yeah. Don't let me have technical. This is a deep one, right? So the last thing you need is technical difficulties on one that's so highly sensitive, but that's just the way that the world goes. Yeah. And so when you're looking at whatever behavior you're exhibiting, I always ask people to narrow down what is the characteristic, because the characteristic, then you can say, oh, well, if the characteristic, you could say, okay, well, I don't want to be misunderstood. Well, that's what you don't want to happen. Right. But what characteristic are you exhibiting? It's a perfectionism. If you're trying to be a perfectionist, then you're not executing. Right. And so, you know, that's what it is for the business. But the other thing is if you don't want to be misunderstood, and I'll stop because it can go into your territory, then you can shut down and not want to communicate at all. And so if you are anti-communication, what is that doing to your relationship? Right. So sometimes the dynamics of that emotion may not be exhibited in the same characteristic in your marriage and your business. But the point is that issue has a root, and it's going to show up in both places in a non-productive way. Yeah. And we got to own up to that in order for us to be able to move forward and to be successful in both situations.
Oh, that was absolutely a trigger in both, though. No. Like me and misunderstood. That was, I mean, this is a really transparent one for me. But it was absolutely a trigger in just in general for me as a person, you know, because this was something that I took from. And I know my mom would have a different perspective. You know, that's just what it is. This was my experience. So this is just something that I took from that. You know what I mean? And it was in my relationship. And for me, I was still a talker. I was still a communicator. So I was explaining all the time. And some other people, like you said, would be the ones that were shut down. But in either scenario, something's lost in translation, and the opportunity for openness and vulnerability in your marriage, which are the cornerstone of intimacy and trust and all of the things that we know are integral to our relationship, both in our marriages and in our business. Right. You have to establish those things with clients, because, you know, we're not out here, you know, just selling cookies. And even if we were selling cookies, you want to know the cookies ain't gonna kill you. So, you know, you still have to have a level of openness and trust. And so it was absolutely a trigger for me in both. And when I look at my journey, kind of the idea of my image, what I was putting out there, was I putting the best forward that I had with what it was that I had at that time? And was, you know, the self-doubt stuff would creep in. And so that meant that I couldn't step up as the boss that I needed to be on the business side. I knew that I knew what to do with clients. You know what I'm saying? I was like, okay, when I get that, but on the business side, things had to run for it to be a business. And the discomfort with feeling like I'm not showing up like people aren't seeing me like I would want them to see me, or they see a snippet of me, they paint you with a broad brush with when you put yourself out there, it's going to happen anyway. So something you have to accept. It could be stifling. Absolutely. And so I had to, my journey through that made me a better businesswoman. It continues to make me a better businesswoman. And the the conversations that I've been having with my mother recently, even the ones that I mentioned, have been better because I've gotten my blunt back. We talked about that too. That was a whole, that was a whole other thing. Oh, that was like that whole thing.
Yeah, that's a whole other.
But you really, that was integral. I got my blunt back with the understanding that I know that my intentions are pure, and so I had to bring that to my mothers, to adult women, despite being mother and daughter, but saying, I need you. This is what I need. This is what I'm seeing this as. And she was receptive to it, and we didn't get into the things that we've gotten into before. And what that means is that I had to deal with my stuff. I had to really deal with myself and my mom. I had to continue to do it. I had to be consistent. I had to be uncomfortable sometimes. I had to go back to the drawing board and look at what it was that I can do to bring to the table. I had to accept the things that I couldn't control. I know serenity prayer, right? But I had to, I'm thinking, but I had to accept the things that I couldn't control with my mother. And my husband hasn't really, here and there, it hasn't been this thing in our marriage. It hasn't been this thing where he's like, oh, you're going through it again. Like, what's going on? Like, I don't really know how to help you in this. And, what are you going to do? And he's not dealing with the frustration of that on his end because I'm handling it. And when I want to express things to him, I do, but it's not in that season of constantness that it was in before,
right?
Where he and I had to have a different and separate conversation so we can come to some understanding. And so for me, I've been on this journey in my marriage, in my relationship with my mom, and that journey, and also in the relationship in the business. And like you said, it's characteristic. And so once I started to work on those things with me, the thread went through all those aspects.
But see, and that's the core denominator though. Yeah. And you guys hear me talk about it all the time. You can look and you can say that it's your mother. You can say that it's the circumstances. You can say that it's your spouse. You can say that it's a lot of things. But the common denominator in the entire situation was everything changed with you.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I remember that there was a season when we were warring with the visibility. Mm-hmm. And I mean, think about this. When you're misunderstood, that's what else comes with that? Mm-hmm. Unlayer it. Mm-hmm. Well, if you're afraid that you're going to be misunderstood, you're going to be misperceived, then you don't want to show up in your business.
It's not on my personal page.
that was a war, right? Yeah. Now, come on,
now I'm always on my personal page.
Let's just be real. The Facebook algorithm is not favorable to business owners. Yeah. It is favorable to personal pages, and if you're not doing paid advertisement, so how do you navigate that and still use your personal page for business? And this is one of the things that I work with my clients with. And there's always those people that are like, I'll do it, but I'll do it on my business page because they know they ain't gonna get no damn views. But even if it's just for somebody being nosy, somebody's gonna come on my personal page, and that might be your mom, your sister, your cousin, the people you went to church with, the people you graduated, from high school with. And how is that going to make you feel? And so the visibility thing was a whole nother layer. You guys got to think about it. If the people who see you every day, the people that see you and articulate how they approve or disapprove of who you are, don't see you, then you don't want to be seen by anybody else. Right. And even I'm making a connection myself right now, because one of the things that I've always said to my clients is, I see you. Yeah. And I don't say that as cliche. I let them know how I see them in their future, what I perceive from their spirit, and what that layer of success can look like, because they need to be seen. They need to be loved. They need to be heard. They need to be felt. And even on the business side, not just in the relationship aspect, it's imperative. And we got a lot of comments popping up. It's imperative that is dealt with. So some of you're rationalizing, oh, well, I'm just not on my personal page because, and I'm going to go here and I'm going to do this. But when you're showing up in your business, you're just doing the bare minimum. You're not really showing up to the level that you can. Yeah. Another thing too, without getting into all of the details, is going to your whole comment about getting the blunt back. Mm-hmm. We had some hard conversations about setting boundaries. And that can be a really crazy dynamic, right? When you talking about but you know, my mama still with my ass. She pulled the belt out, you know. I was born in the 70s. I come from that era, you know. All jokes aside, though, but when we think about our elders or people that birthed us and all of that stuff, you have to grow up basically and realize that you're not a kid anymore. And so there were conversations, and I'm like, look. And don't get it twisted, because my dynamic with my mother, unfortunately, is that the relationship is non-existent. But that's a whole nother other story and some stuff I dealt with many years ago. But you're sitting here and you're looking at the situation. You're involving your mother in conversation. You guys sometimes are talking to whoever this person is. I'm saying mom because that's the title of our video, but who is that person for you? You're involving them in the intimate details of what you're doing. And they are not even seeing you, it's going to stunt your confidence. And you don't have room to not be confident as an entrepreneur. It's the key characteristic that has to keep shining and showing up. And the other thing is, well, you got to think about what's happening to you emotionally. When my clients get hit hard by something or by someone, not something that makes them emotionally stressed, you know, a couple of times it'd be like, let me just go ahead and get in here and beast out my business. But what ultimately ends up happening is that you cannot function because your mind is distracted. And why a lot of you'll lie to yourself. You say, oh, I'm good, I'm decent. But no, what you doing is you pissed off and you trying to do something to get your mind off of it. So it goes back to the example earlier. You think you're doing something you need to do, but you're doing things that are out of order. Or you're not doing what you need to be doing at all, because here's the thing. If it's serving clients, you can usually get away with that. But if it's writing copy, then that's your litmus test. Have I really gotten over this? This is just an example. Because in the midst of serving clients, it becomes a distraction. It's like, I don't even have to think about what's going on with my mama, auntie, sister, cousin, / whatever. But if you got to sit down and write out the copy for your new program on a landing page, and as soon as you get, what the hell that pop in my head? Let me try this again. And then you realize how much space, because see, now it's quiet. And you get to see what's really occupying your mind. And so if someone doesn't challenge you, you know, do the mindset work, ask you the questions that you don't want to be asked. Are you seeking somebody else's approval? If you're seeking approval from your man, you're going to be seeking approval from your clients. You know, what is it about you that you denying? Your bluntness or whatever, your goofiness, your quirkiness, what about you are you not allowing to shine? The impact is going to be felt in your business.
And you know, I know in businesses you hold, you know, the emotional, the spiritual, the mental, and a lot of the strategy. And for me, it's highly emotional. Like I'm holding we're holding space for a whole lot of emotion and running the gamut of different emotions. And a lot of times that holding back and even, you know, worrying what other people think, other people sometimes as a spouse. You know, you want certain things from your spouse that you're not getting. You worry about their feelings or tiptoeing around what they'll think. Even though, ironically, this is someone that you marry. So the idea and the ideal is that they accept you for who you are, including who you are becoming. And I say that because, you know, some people have been, you know, you've been together for a long time. You're not the same, you know, 18-year-old you is not the same as, you know, 48-year-old you, or, you know, whatever the case may be when you met your spouse. And so there's a continued acceptance of who you are currently, and then who you are becoming as you evolve. And even knowing that on a mental level, being able to say, this is how I'm feeling now. This wasn't always how I felt. Can I open up about this to my spouse? Are they going to dismiss this? Is he going to be receptive? And the thing to do, and I say this because I had to do it even with my mother, is to say, well, these are the reasons why I need to say this. It's not my intention to hurt them, but I still have to find my voice to say it. And through the discomfort, just like I was saying, through the discomfort and through the consistency in that, in knowing that your intentions are like, look, I'm just trying to let you in on the truth.com right now. then you have to also be able to know that you have to express that you can, and then you have to express that in some way, shape, or form, even though I know that it's not always comfortable. And I wouldn't have gotten where I gotten with my mother if I had done that. And even in my marriage, you know what I'm saying? We've been doing this thing for a minute. We wouldn't have gotten where we are and continue to do what we do if we shirked away from the things that are uncomfortable. And there have been plenty of uncomfortable moments. There have been plenty of gut-wrenching moments. There have been plenty of times where I was like, what the hell? Like, what is this? You know what I mean? And if we didn't do this, we couldn't have gotten through those things. And for example, and I know you've dealt with this with clients before because I've seen it, but if how can I tell my truth if that person, if your spouse is gonna know, but in business, if that person's on Facebook, like you were saying, the person, like, what if my mom's on Facebook? They're gonna see it. Like, how much of my truth can I tell? Like, it's gonna hurt them. Am I telling their story? Like, do I have a right to tell this? And going back and forth about being able to release and heal for you, and still how that's going to affect the other person. And I think there's a thin line between being able to sit in your truth and accept that, and what you feel is consideration of someone else. You know, because you feel like, oh, we're being considerate, but how much of that is, for lack of a better word right now, a cop out for being able to really sit and express and release and heal for my truth.
Absolutely. And that one, I want to say that probably 70%. 70% of my clients have to deal with that. They help me think about it, because the vast majority of you are some type of counselor, coach, healer. You're transforming somebody's mindset, their health, their spirit. You know, when you think about the kind of people that follow us, you mean some of you guys have products, but the most of you are in the service-based industry where you're having intimate connections and you're working with people. And to be honest with you, vulnerability is what gets you there. Now, here's the funny thing. When I say it, you know it's the truth. But when I'm talking to you, you be like, yeah, but do I gotta be that vulnerable? Do I gotta say all of this? But the honest to goodness truth is, come on now, y'all have seen the clips. Y'all have seen the clips with Lisa Nichols. The most powerful thing that you can do when you're being interviewed is you can tell your story. And you need to be dynamic. And I remember when my baby just all I had was a towel to wrap around him because I didn't even have $2. I couldn't get him any Pampers. And see, if you want to attract people, the most amazing thing you can do is woo them over with your story. Then here comes your coach, August. You hired me because you can't afford Lisa Nichols, but I'll take second and third to her because she's a bad mother. Shut your mouth. Yeah. And then here I come. I'm telling you the same thing. Yeah. Because it's the truth. Yeah. Because here it is, you want a level and a layer of vulnerability to people. Yeah. It is hypocritical. I mean, literally think about this. You want people to come to you to tell you they dirty laundry. You want them to come to you and tell you their shit stinks. You want them to know, you want to know, how long have you been this fat? How long have you filed divorce papers yet? What sins are you hiding that are haunting you that you can't move forward?
Yeah, what are you really scared of?
What are you really scared of? What's going on with your money? Are you in debt now? 50,000? How many times have you filed bankruptcy? All of these things you want to know about people, but then here it is, you don't want to tell your truth. Part of the reason why so many of you trust me, because I've been willing to tell you that I was embarrassed because I spent X amount of thousands of dollars, because I had a fight with my husband, and I had my kids in the back seat, that I paid for one thing and it didn't work out. I was stupid. I launched a program this way. I did this 3 times, 4 times. Nobody bought. Y'all know all of my dirty laundry. Y'all know how I wasn't 100% being authentic because my church people were still watching the video. What was going? You know everything about me. Yeah. And every time you think a lot about me, but every time you think you know enough, you learn something more. Yeah. And so people have no problem being vulnerable with me because I'm vulnerable with them. But you guys want the same thing, and you got to really question your integrity when you're not willing to be that open with somebody else. Right. You're gonna have to spill the beans. You're gonna have to let it out. So some of you would say, well, when I talk to them, I'm gonna do that, August. Okay, but let's just be real. If you're not marketing yourself, and social media happens to be one of the best engines for you to do that, and you're not able to put it in a post, and you're not able to put it in a video, then who are you attracting? Right. I did a training in one of my groups, and how many sales calls have you had? And if they, but you, money. Right, because I'm gonna test you and I'm gonna call you out, and the questions were not answered immediately, so I know the answer. You know what I'm saying? You guys have to understand that you had a choice to make today. You got a choice to make every single day. You got a choice to be inside your own brain. You got a choice to think this shit through very thoroughly. You got a choice to force yourself to beast through the bullshit. You got a choice to say, you know what? I'm just going to trust God and everything is going to work out. Or you have another choice that says, you know what? I don't have all day to build my dream. I don't have all day to make my empire explode, to get my spouse off his job or to get me off my job, to be able to travel the way that I want to. I don't have all day to birth a legacy. You hear me? I don't have all day to birth a legacy. And you gotta have a moment of truth with yourself. How long have you been doing what you've been doing by yourself, and how far have you gotten by doing that? Because until you surrender, because this shit is deep. I mean, like, really think about the emotional stuff that me and Imani bring to the table every single week and show you the practical, strategic dynamic in your business. You can keep on thinking all you want, but this time next year, where will you be? It's always the people that choose. It's the people that choose and say, you know what? I need to be in that hub to get guided. See, what a lot of you guys are doing, you watching these videos, you like, you know what? That's what I'm going to have to do. I'm going to have to set some boundaries with my mama. That's what I'm going to have to do. She said that something she don't have to share with her husband, so she stopped talking to him about that. But that's what I'm going to have to do. I'm going to be more visible, so I'm going to go ahead and do that one damn video on my page or put that one post up. Not realizing that one change, that one moment is not going to do anything for your business. It is not sustaining because it is not consistent. Success comes from habituated small steps. And so I'm already, speeding. She can come back where she is, but I feel led to do this. You guys literally, to get access to the prompts on a consistent basis, 3 to 4 times a week, to challenge your behavior, to get direct feedback when you're dealing with something. And we're going to go to your comments because I'm not closing out with a call to action, but to get the direct feedback to the things that we're talking about, to help get someone to help you see where you got blocks and where you're not showing up in your business the way that you're supposed to help you deal with the emotional stuff that's going to raise up, to get some peace when it's your husband or whatever it is in the dynamic of your relationship. It ain't got to be that you want to be divorced, but you need to resolve these issues. You got an opportunity to make a choice today, literally. There are other levels, but you can come in the door at $97 a month to get access to 2 coaches. So that's 2 trainings. That's multiple days of information. You show me where you can get a business coach for $50 just to sit down and talk to them on a consistent basis once a month. You can't. No. You might get your pastor for $25 every once in a while to support you, but that's still just to gloss over some scriptures with you or something like that. How many times are you all going to watch this video or the videos before or the videos to come before you say there's nothing wrong with getting some guidance? Yeah. Because you guys are feeling us. Look at what they're saying. On the other page, one person, Terry, said, I'm feeling you, because she got the same with her mom. Terry. Camille, I get that the parent dynamic can add an interesting element to a marriage. It does. This is so true. Just when you think everything is good, that's the key right there. Just when you think everything is good, then that's when that trigger will remind you that there is still work to do. Yeah. I think he was laughing at me about my mama, but I'm gonna let. She was laughing at me because you talked about how I used to come in and all types of stuff. You say, with 17 things, and then Tiffany said truth. So I'm gonna. You said guidance is needed at all levels, and you know what? And guidance is the difference between your level of success. I'll say this one thing. I believe that I'm safe to say this, so that I can draw a comparison between the two of you guys. When Camille came to me at ground zero, which means that she got a running start from the beginning. So her success pattern Because I was like, no, you're not gonna do this, you're not gonna do that. Let me break down some statistics for you. The type of stuff that the people are having in the CEO offices about what all of these numbers mean. Blah 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 blah. This is why you're gonna do this way, that way, that way. Put this price. So her business grew at a different rate. See, that's the other thing. Y'all know that's why I hate the 6 steps, the 6 figures, the 6 days, because somebody got to be paying attention to the unique variables in your business. When Imani came, there was work that had already been done. There were things that she already had set. There were other things that she already had invested in. It took almost the same amount of time to, or maybe just a little bit longer, to reverse all of the shit in her mind to get her to restart that it took me to get Camise started. And so some of you all don't even realize that you're dealing with repairable damage. You think that you're taking the right steps, but it takes somebody to look at what you're doing and be like, look, you got to go back to the drawing board. And it was a little difficult sometimes because I didn't just tell her. You can't, a coach is not going to just tell you this is what you're supposed to be. I was like, well, I'm just going to ask her a bunch of challenging ass questions. Well, what if you got to do this? You're going to be this. You're going to serve men. You're going to do women, homosexual, heterosexual. Well, why you can't do this? Why you can't just serve them? Why you can't? Well, I'm just saying, what if somebody, I mean, I did the same thing to Camille. Yeah. You want to do bilingual around babies? But what if a white woman comes to you and she says, I mean, I know you saying this, but well, what if the twist is that she got an adopted brown baby? You know, I mean, y'all can think I'm selling this, and I want to know, Camille.
She do got an adopted brown baby.
But I, you know, where is the movement? You know, where does the, you know, where do you cross the lines? Because that's what a coach is here to do, and that's what we're here to do. So because you've read books, you've watched videos, you've done opt-ins, because you've done so much, sometimes pride can get in the way and make you feel like I'm gonna be okay, I know what to do. But the honest to goodness truth is that you really don't. And that's what we're here for. And so click a link and just do the $97 and bring your ass on in there, or click the button and send us a message and one or the other and talk to us, because we got your back.
And I'll even add this, you know, because we'll say like share the video. We always appreciate a share, but I really want you, and I'm encouraging you to think about people whom you know, because we all have people that really talk to us about things and maybe aren't going to be on this video or are not going to be necessarily forthright, and you put the link in a PM for them and say, sister, I really think that you need to see this. I really think that this is something that's going to you know, be good for you, or I saw this and thought of you, you know, out of love, because sometimes we need those direct messages in the kind of the silence and confines of our home. You know what I mean? Not being tagged in a video necessarily, unless you feel like that person's cool with that, but say, man, and really sit with it and say, I do need this.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And so I'm encouraging you to do that, because we know people that would need this, would benefit. And we would do them a disservice to not share that information with them, you know?
Absolutely. And at the end of the day, and I don't really do justifiable conversation, but I do believe that at some point, you know, all of you still deserve, you know, the right to know. I see so many people that because you're taught to write copy, you're trying to read the copy. You're trying to see if what, you know, is being said makes sense, if it was put together eloquently enough so that you can know whether it is or not that you should move. But a lot of you, my question is, do you really exercise due diligence? You know, you look, some of you see like the people, they have like the really amazing websites, and they have a picture that's pristine and polished, and they're the perfect background. And it's like, find out how this person, you know, made, you know, 28K, you know, in 1 hour after a conversation with me. And it feels good. And because you feel like I'm a genius, I'm smart too, I should be able to do these things. And you find yourself saying, okay, well, I want to opt in, and I want to get that thing as well, because I want that experience. And then whether they got the lower ticket option where it's only $70, or it's the thousands of dollars options where it's $3,000, because you're like, I'm gonna do whatever it takes to build my empire, you get in on the other side. And it's like, well, where is, you know, Sister Sherry so-and-so? Because she's never in a group.
Right.
And what they'll do is they'll be like, you got an access to a plethora of information. Look at this big old website with all these videos and everything you need, leaving you to your own brain to do what you were doing. But then they add another layer of confusion in the mix. Oh, well, you guys are in the group together, so you guys talk it out. So now the blind gonna lead the blind. Right. But you know, look, y'all know I'm bold. Fuck DIY. I'm DWY. I'm doing it with you.
Yes.
I'm not gonna have you do it yourself.
Right.
And what some of you all need to do is to look beyond the pictures of the same people that have been on the website for the past 5 years and start really finding out what the dirty is, because some of the people that y'all love their name because you look at their videos, the people that I know that have purchased and bought into their programs, they are coming out worse than what they went in. Yeah. So exercise due diligence, do the research, study. There isn't a single person on the planet that's going to tell you, yeah, you know, once you actually pay August City money, they kind of half-ass serve. They're gonna every client I know, people say this for her, but I'm speaking for me. Yeah. Every client that I've had, even in a group dynamic, is blown away that I would put my presence in a group to the magnitude that I do. And I have more than one group, and in every single one of those groups, they get me.
Yep.
And then they don't get a generic response. Oh, well, you know, in order to close a sale or to do this, you have to practice this technique. I say in your industry, because you're doing health in your specific brand is this. You need to look at saying it this way. What are those words for you that convey this meaning?
Right.
And give very, very, very laser focused information towards you. Right. The only thing that changes and the only thing that should ever change with your investment level is the level of access. Correct. The level of access. See, what you all are not demanding. I'm going on a tangent.
Go.
What you guys are not demanding. You deserve this. What you're not demanding is getting what you paid for, and you paid for assistance. Yeah, now if you only gonna pay $47 to $97 a month, you're not gonna expect the same thing as somebody who paid $4,000 or $5,000 to be in an accelerated coaching program for 12 weeks.
Right.
But at the same time, whether you're paying $97 only or not, you should feel elevation. You should feel confident. You should have a layer of expertise going. You should begin to make money, because what happens is the people get excited because I'm making money on this level. And so then my clients say, well, let me graduate up a level. She didn't give a whole lot. Is she stupid? She couldn't possibly have anything else left to give. But then when you invest on a higher level, you're like, wait a minute. Is this what I was missing on the other side of a one-to-one? And then you say, well, let me go ahead and pay for the full package. You're like, damn, what you got hidden that? Maybe it's hidden up under all this. And that's how you all should feel. But what's happening with you all is you're paying a really steep price and you're still barely getting any access.
Right.
And then you pay down to the lowest price where you get no access.
Right.
And we don't do that. Seize it while the time is right, not because we're telling you this is what we do, but because it's what you deserve.
Yeah.
You deserve to have somebody that's going to be in the thick of it with you. Yeah. Start exercising due diligence and researching these coaches to see that they are or are not involved. You can just get a freebie if you're going to do the work
on
yourself.
Your own. Right. That's cool. If that's what you want to do. But people pay because they want to have that level of access and they want to have that experience. And I don't think that either one of us are really built to just be like, oh, you just did some recording, put it in the group, pop it in and see, because that has always been a struggle for me in my business. Like, I'm your coach. I've been, free groups where they're like, yeah, you're already my coach. And I'm like, I am? This is you're not even, I thought it was, but I don't know. I see somebody with an issue and I'm like, I want to say something because it comes to me. Yes. It's like I feel it in my spirit. I'm like, you need to execute this. I'm asking the questions, you're giving the answer. I'm like, okay, I see this. Do you see this? And they're like, oh no, you know what I mean? And it just comes. And so we're not built to just be like, whatever. You know what I mean? No. That's just not how we're built. And so look at, this what we do here. You know what I mean? People who just had conversations with just August or just me or August and myself together. That to me is part of the due diligence. That's how we show up,
Absolutely. So the question really all boils down to is, can you afford not to do?
Yeah.
Can you afford not to do? Can you afford to miss this opportunity?
Something on your phone.
It hasn't been any new ones.
Okay.
Oh, McLean came on. I don't think she's on anymore.
Oh, okay.
I didn't get to say hi. Maybe she'll come back and watch the rest of it to see that we said hello to her too. You know, so we're not gonna beat you down. Tag someone privately, send them the link to the video, share the video to get it out for other people to see it. And some of you just make the decision to go ahead and opt in to be in the Fix My Business, Fix My Marriage group so that we can help you. And for those of you that watch us and you don't necessarily have a business, so you don't need me, or even though you love the entertaining side because it's a little bit of information to the marriage side, but you don't need that, just reach out to us. Reach out to us and have a conversation because we are the ones. We are the ones who actually care. We're not just creating anything. Thank you, Terry, and I saw Lynn also shared it earlier. So you guys enjoy your day. I know that today probably gave you all quite a bit to think about. You know, the marriage.
The overcast just came.
I know.
You feel the energy shift?
Yeah, it did because y'all. So it was really bright outside, and now it looks like it's going to thunderstorm. I need y'all to know I ain't no punk. Okay, thunder don't got nothing on August. I know how to shut my eardrums. Rain is some of the best weather. I could sleep through a storm.
Yeah.
Snap, crackle, pop.
It's reflective weather. That, I mean, to me, you know.
Yeah, I get really just low key.
Yeah.
Maybe we should not go and do any work once this is over with. We should do something else. I got too much shit to do. She's like,
oh my God.
We both do. We can't do that for real. This shit sounded good when I said that.
Energy and reflective energy as we do it. You know?
Yeah, we will. So, ladies, just know that we love you. Our hearts and souls go out to you. Keep a high spirit of expectation. And get in a position to work with two coaches that are very, very concerned about you getting to your next level.
Yes.